Navigate.
It's been a while since we last visited Aru Village. Ah, there's Sino!
What brings you here?
We recovered well, and Tanari agreed to let us leave, so now we're out and about again.
It seems Gandharvaville's medical treatment is still as good as ever.
And Tanari is recovering well, too.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, you're the one who brought us to him when we lost consciousness, right? Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Tainari has excellent medical skills, and Kale is quite attentive. It was the best place for you.
But why are you just standing here like a dead tree?
I'm meeting some people.
Oh, you mean Candace?
I've already talked with Candace and the village chief. They're still at the usual place. You can go there if you'd like to see them. But you know one of the people I'm meeting as well.
Oh, by King Deshret's blessing, my friend suddenly appears in the desert. Don't tell me you've run into trouble and need us to help now.
Roman! And... huh? Sataria?
Oh, you know me?
Oh, well, you're pretty famous in the academia.
Don't worry, these are our friends. No need to be so guarded.
I see.
सॉरी गाइस, जरा काम आ गया था।
I'm doing well. Many good things have happened recently.
हेलो कल्लू
Same
कालिया,
here. Really, I
तुम
feel
कौन?
that my whole life has started to
नेटबॉट
shine after
कौन हो?
suddenly
माइनक्राफ्ट
finding a new
में
direction.
गेम खेलती हो?
Oh, tell us everything.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right. Well, I suppose I should start by saying I've decided to leave the
थैंक यू फॉर द
academia.
सब कल्लू कालिया जी। आपको क्या लग रहा है मैं क्या हूँ?
It's not that I've
लड़का
given
हो और
up
क्या
on
हुआ?
being a scholar. Instead, you could say I've found a new identity. I will no longer pursue research like a typical scholar, but I have not completely given up on my relationship to knowledge either.
I can see what you're saying now.
What do you mean?
I plan to leave the academia and return to teach here in the desert.
Wow, so you want to become a teacher?
Sataria will return to support education here and teach people from the desert. She can't teach everyone on her own, but there are many of us Eremites all over Sumeru. She came to discuss a collaboration with me and hoped that I could bring her ideas to the Eremites.
Yes, it's my hope that the Eremites can help me select a group of smart people with the best aptitude for teaching. I'll teach them, and after they've finished learning from me, they can go educate more
नेटबॉट को
people.
कहा रहा हूँ, ये
That is
कौन
the
है?
true meaning of education and the spreading of knowledge.
ये नाइटबॉट
The people of Deshret suffer from
आप बोल
sandstorms,
सकते हो
exile, and ignorance.
लड़का ये
Miss Sataria is more than welcome to come teach here.
ये मेरे
Her
मोड ने
life
किया है।
is like a star shining in the desert night.
एक है मेरा मोड, उसने ऐसा
Stars
कमांड्स
always
डाल के
guide
रखा है।
caravans, thieves, soldiers, and travelers who get lost in the night. They lead those in the dark out of trouble and back to safety.
Oh, please. Where's all of this coming from? I'm starting to feel a little embarrassed.
You deserve these compliments. Mercenaries are accustomed to danger and don't fear death, which is why we recognize extraordinary actions that common people would easily overlook.
Sataria's idea will bring much good to many people.
अच्छा
At first,
हाँ,
I feared it was destined to
आप भी
fail.
जेंशिन खेलते हो क्या?
Everyone knows that the academia doesn't allow scholars to teach in the desert without permission. As you know, all knowledge is under their surveillance and control, and very few desert dwellers are as lucky as me. But what I heard at that time has been haunting my heart, as if there were lightning bolts constantly bombarding my soul. Sataria, you tread a treacherous path, and the longer you ignore it, the tighter the academia's grasp on you will become. Sataria, why haven't you gone home? Never forget that the desert that belongs to you lies elsewhere.
हाँ माइनक्राफ्ट भी खेलते हैं हम।
These words sparked something in me, and I knew that I had to bring something back to my people after going home. I gathered up the courage to
माइनक्राफ्ट
approach the
खेलते
Grand
हैं,
Sage,
बहुत सारे खेलते हैं।
only to find that he was no longer at the academia. Lord Sino told me that Azar didn't belong there anymore.
Azar has received much needed punishment. Though, if you ask me, it may have been too light. You probably have already heard.
Lord Sino helped me obtain permission to leave the academia for the desert, and accompanied me here to discuss collaboration with members of the Eremites. My plan was able to go smoothly thanks to him and Rahman.
You're all doing so much for the desert.
Aside from that, I also have some other business to discuss with Sino.
Lesser Lord Kusanali has allocated
आज भी शायद से माइनक्राफ्ट खेलेंगे, शाम को खेलेंगे शायद से 5 के आसपास, 5 बजे के आसपास खेलूंगा।
Part of it required the assistance of the
Minecraft.
Eremites. I applied for a few batches of educational materials from the academia and sent them to several groups in the desert, as instructed by Lesser Lord Kusanali. I believe the people will make good use of them.
That's exactly what the people here need. Physical books and other related items. If it weren't for Sino and Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'm afraid we'd never be able to get our hands on them.
Apart from this, the academia is also recruiting scholars that are willing to teach in the desert. I'll let you and Sataria know as soon as I have any more news. We must be persistent about this and maintain these resources to ensure long-term effectiveness.
This is the first time in hundreds of years we've had a glimmer of hope. I think this may be the turning point for the desert. Remember these words. Here lies our faithful priest, Kasala.
Kasala.
His
His wisdom is
a
miracle among the people, deserving of high praise and admiration.
I hope people with
Admiration.
wisdom like the priest will rise again among the desert dwellers. Then we'll once again see the wisdom and glory that once shook the world.
Enough about us. Are you here to discuss some business too?
No, not at all. We're actually here on behalf of Nilu. Nilu wanted to write to everyone, but she wasn't sure where the letters should be sent, so she asked us to come find everyone personally. A celebration feast will be held in 2 days at the Grand Bazaar. She hopes that all of you will be able to attend. At the feast, we'll also be celebrating Sino's reinstatement as General Mahamatra. Although, judging from your appearance, it seems you've already been reinstated. Paimon thought you would only start working for the Academia after the feast.
Celebration? Feast? It's the first I've heard of it.
Tighnari was right. He really didn't know.
This feast is for you, Sino. Sounds to me like you'll have to be there.
It's rare to see that kind of expression from Lord Sino. You must not like feasts very much.
No, not really. But I'll go.
Well, I still have a lot to handle here. Besides, I need to look after Miss Sataria in the desert, so I'll have to pass.
I'm afraid I won't be able to join you. Although, if you'd be so kind, please give a message to Miss Nilu for me. The message is, I'm sorry for how I treated you before, but now I understand the beauty of your dance. It's like a light shining in the sky. You and the art you symbolize are not only beautiful, but also lively and powerful, so much so that it was prohibited. Please keep dancing, and someday I'll be able to appreciate your art in person.
Okay, we've got all that down. Our job here is complete as well. Oh, Sino, remember, party's in 2 days. Make sure you're there.
Got it.
भाई ये लोग पार्टी कर रहे अकेले अकेले. Wait for the feast to start. Continue after 2 days later.
Everybody's already here. Looks like we're the last ones to arrive.
You're here.
Ah, there you are. Well, look who finally decided to show up.
You look like you came here immediately after finishing up some work. I'm very happy to see you here.
But we're not late, are we? It's just that everyone else arrived ahead of time.
I propose that the last one who arrived be put in charge of today's speeches.
Nah, there won't be any speeches today.
Oh, really? Well, even better.
Come join us over here. Let's share some great food and drinks, and chat about all sorts of fun things.
Everything looks quite good.
Wow! Paimon can't wait! Traveler, just look at all the delicious food here! Whoa! It's so delicious! Oh, this grilled meat tastes amazing!
The food was specially prepared for you by everyone in the Grand Bazaar. And we have gifts that were sent by the residents of Sumeru City when they heard we were holding a feast. Everyone that came said that you saved Sumeru, and wanted me to thank you all on their behalf. Ah, feels kinda nice to be seen as a hero. I could get used to this.
Being a bodyguard is also a hero's job. You've always been amazing, Dia.
My lady sure has a way with words. Thanks. I'm glad to hear it.
And I'm happy to meet everyone that participated in the great plan.
Don't mention it.
Come to think of it, we've really done something impressive together. It's unbelievable!
We owe it to our abilities. And luck.
Really? Why do I remember everybody thinking that luck was against us and feeling like we hardly had a chance of succeeding?
That's how I remember it too.
It's luck that brought us together, and it was luck that let us form a team. Then, it took even more luck for us to formulate a plan and implement it successfully. Moreover, judging from the results, everything worked out well.
Yeah. Everyone gave it their all when it mattered most. It was almost like a performance. We took the stage and put on our best show. Everyone played their part, and thanks to everyone's efforts, the performance was a great success.
So, would you say we're good actors too?
It's such a blessing that Lesser Lord Kusanali was able to return to power at the Academia.
Yes! Even after being abandoned and neglected so many times, she's finally returned. Uh-huh. Lesser Lord Kusanali once used all her power in a great disaster, which resulted in her losing all her wisdom and memories of the past. The Academia basically abandoned her because of it. This should be something everybody should remember. Huh? You look surprised. I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
No, everything you said is correct.
That's good.
Something wrong?
Yeah, what's with that face? You knew all of this already.
Even if those two giants of the Academia are here, I still have to say it. Those sages really have some nerve. 500 years ago, Lesser Lord Kusanali used all her power for the people of Sumeru, and what did they do in return?
If you bite the hand that feeds you, don't act surprised when it turns into a knuckle sandwich, right, Sino?
Perhaps I shouldn't say this, but their treatment of Lesser Lord Kusanali calls for a more severe punishment.
You could simply tell Lesser Lord Kusanali that you wish to have Azar and his accomplices severely punished.
I respect our deity's decision, and won't interfere in any way. While we're on this topic, why didn't you accept the Academia's invitation to become the Grand Sage?
Are you trying to say that I'm fit to be a sage?
Not at all. But every person handling the selection process has said that you are the most suitable candidate to lead the Academia right now.
Why? Because he dethroned Azar from power?
Could you try to put it another way? This is a good thing, yet you're making it sound like I overthrew Azar for my own personal gain.
But seriously though, I always wondered if you had some personal motives behind it.
I did have my own motive, but it had nothing to do with being a sage. If the rules of our nation were suddenly cast by the wayside, then it wouldn't be long until chaos ensued. I had no intention of letting their dreams disrupt my life.
By that, you mean your life working as the Academia's scribe.
Precisely.
Wait, is that all?
So, that's the only reason why you joined us and came up with all those plans?
It's reason enough.
You've certainly got quite the personality.
You flatter me.
All right then. How about you? You've already resumed work as the General Mahamatra, right?
That's right.
Will you be happy with that life?
It's not about being happy. There are merely a lot of things that I must do.
Even so, keep your spirits up and try to be happy, okay? And try to smile more every day. Just like I'm doing now.
Thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
I seldom participate in such lively gatherings, but the atmosphere here is quite good. No. This gathering today has a unique meaning. The Grand Bazaar is lively because the people here feel happiness from the bottom of their hearts, unlike the farces at the Academia. That happiness is an emotion that'll be forever alien to those bookworms who have driven themselves insane by studying. I seem to have taken both keys when I left the house. Oh well.
My lady, the grilled meat over there is delicious. Have you tried it?
Yes, I also tried some fruit just now. Oh, they're very sweet. What an amazing place to relax. No wonder everybody likes to rest at the Grand Bazaar.
You said it. Oh, look who else is here.
Hello! Oh, I'm so happy Nilu invited everybody. Oh, now I have the chance to meet all the heroes.
Hey, less of that polite chit-chat and more eating and drinking. The feast is about having fun, not stuffy formalities.
Ah, there you are, traveler. Well, how is it? Are you enjoying the feast today? If there's anything you're unhappy with, just let me know. I'll be sure to take note of it. That's good. It's the first time I've ever invited so many exceptional people to one place. I was a little nervous myself. You see, every guest here is quite extraordinary. It's unbelievable that we've got everyone together here. Almost like a fairy tale. Make sure you live it up tonight. I'll be happy as long as you're enjoying yourselves. I'm honored to have her think of me this way. If I have a chance in the future, I would really like to invite her to one of my performances. I can't explain why, but I just feel elated right now. Thank you.
The atmosphere here is good, and everything is delicious. Yeah. I don't often come to such places, but it feels quite good. I have a lot to handle these days. Otherwise, I could show you around. There's always next time. We're friends after all. This feast is pretty good. I like it.
Hey, what's wrong? Your head is starting to droop. Hey, you can't just fall asleep here. Paimon will go find something delicious for you to eat. You'll wake up once you've put something yummy in your tummy. Of course, just wait here for Paimon. It's me. You may blame me for being a bit too self-indulgent. I was thinking about talking with you, and the next thing I knew, I had made a connection with you. The connection between us is amazing. It's like flora and the fence it grows upon. I heard there's an amazing celebration feast today at the Grand Bazaar. I wanted to have a look for myself, so I snuck in. Lately, I've been so busy dealing with all the fallout from recent events, so I really haven't had any free time. Although you've already helped me with a lot, there's still one more thing I hope you can help me with. Please say thank you to everyone for me. Oh, is it not convenient for you to do that for me? But if I just show up all of a sudden, people will become all quiet and stiff, won't they? What if I end up scaring them and ruining this wonderful feast? That'd be the last thing I want. Let me think about it. Okay. Yes, I have. You said I should go thank everyone as myself, right? So, I've decided to borrow your body for the time being. Please don't blame me. The flora also climbs up to the fence to get closer to the sky. Everyone! Are you awake now? Paimon was just about to bring you the food. It's me. Huh? That voice. Nahida?
Hold up, what's going on?
I didn't expect to have a conversation with the consciousness of Lesser Lord Kusanali in the Grand Bazaar. Interesting. Is this also a part of the feast?
No, of course not. Are you Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Hello, Nilu.
You know who I am?
Yes, I already know every one of you. Nilu, Alhaitham, Sino, Dia, Paimon, and Dunyarzad.
Lesser Lord Kusanali?
I took the liberty of occupying the traveler's body so that I could thank all of you in person. Thank you so much for rescuing me, even if that meant placing your own safety in peril and taking the risk of becoming enemies with the academia. the sages, the doctor, the balladeer, and even the entirety of Sumeru. Without you, without any of you, I would have been in a much more difficult situation. Had you not helped me to resolve the crisis, not only I, but Sumeru and even the entirety of Tevat would have suffered great misfortune. People refer to you as God. I'm quite fond of this name. It not only explains your identities, but also bears witness to your relationship with me. Please, allow me to present to you my most sincere gratitude.
Lesser Lord Kusanali, you have done so much for Sumeru, and I didn't even have a chance to do anything for you. You don't have to do this.
Dinyarzad, the suffering you endured during your illness is also proof of you being with me and praying for me. Thank you.
You don't need to be so ceremonious. It's always been my duty to protect you.
This is how the relationship between the Academia and Dendro Archon should be. We just did what was necessary and set things back on the right path.
You're an Archon, but you act so humble. You really don't need to be so polite with us.
I'm honored to have been able to take part in this plan. I hoped you liked the dance I dedicated to you.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Are you awake? Did you rest well? After Nahida left, you ate a lot of food. You've become a glutton. That just means you still have a lot to learn from Master Paimon, the Sage of Gluttony. Alright, since you're awake now, should we go and have a chat with Nahida? She should be in the Academia right about now. If you have any questions, now's your chance to ask. Traveler and Paimon? What a fantastic night. I'm still immersed in all the happiness and joy, like a candle floating on water. So are we, and that's why we're here to talk with you. Is there anything you want to know? After recent events, the Akasha can no longer function as it used to. I've given it some thought, and have decided to shut it down permanently. But this is definitely not a bad thing. Even from the beginning, I've been planning to shut it down. The Akasha's centralized administration of knowledge has always restrained people's curiosity and curtailed the number of paths available to them. I don't think this is good for Sumeru. Although people may initially feel a little uncomfortable with the loss of the Akasha, they will soon understand that this life is more suitable for them. And as for the future of Sumeru, I'm preparing to regain control of the academia. The former sages have received their punishment, but the new sages have yet to be selected. I will oversee the process personally. I hope that the new 6 great sages will be more focused on academics. Sumeru needs such leaders more than ever. The other big issue is the people of King Deshret. All the residents of the desert, in fact. They have been mistreated for far too long. I've already taken some measures to address this. It will take some time to rebuild everything, but no matter if it's culture, friendship, or trust, we will rebuild it. You mean, what happened after the doctor put you to sleep? You guessed correctly. The top-ranked Fatui Harbingers, up to number 3, possess power comparable to that of gods. I was no match for him in that kind of situation. However, in spite of the bad situation, I still managed to make a fair deal with the doctor. I'm sure you remember the entity that changed your fate, the Heavenly Principles. In fact, the Heavenly Principles has been quiet since the Conria disaster 500 years ago. I used this point as leverage against the doctor. I told him that the Heavenly Principles may be awakened if I destroy the Gnosis. Although it was just a bluff, he still fell for it. I assumed that the Heavenly Principles wouldn't just stand by and let such extensive damage to its laws take place. And as for what I exchanged for the Gnosis, the exchange served as both punishment for the doctor, as well as a boon of new knowledge that I couldn't refuse as the God of Wisdom. He's still in a coma. I've hidden him like how one would hide a feather. I know you have many misgivings about him, but as someone who had become a god, he has retained a number of very useful features. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't do any evil. In addition, there are still some mysteries left in him. Some things may be very clear from my perspective, but he is still yet to understand them himself. His future will be determined by fate. Is that where you're headed next? Fontaine, the Nation of Justice? As far as I know, that nation operates in a judicial system. Does their Archon personally judge people? No, there's a Chief Justice in Fontaine. Generally speaking, the Hydra Archon, Focalor, won't preside over individual trials. However, even then, Focalor will still make herself present at just about every trial. It seems that she just likes to immerse herself in that sort of atmosphere. As Archon, she still reserves the right to influence the final verdict. Anyway, let's just say she's got, a very unique personality. Are you sure? Isn't there something else you haven't asked about yet? Huh? You mean... About your sister. While you were resting at Gandharvaville, I took some time to perform an Irminsul search for information on your sister. Yeah! Isn't Irminsul a repository for all the information and memories of Teyvat? So there shouldn't be anything on him or his sister.
This is true in your case. Irminsul indeed does not have any information on you. However, there must be something different about your sister. Because, as it turns out, the world has recorded information on her after all.
What?
There is only one possible explanation. She belongs to this world.
But nothing about this makes any sense! Wasn't this your first trip to Teyvat?
According to the records I was able to access, your sibling suddenly appeared in Conria. After the Conria disaster, she began her journey through the 7 nations of Teyvat. But just as her journey was about to reach its conclusion, the Irminsul records on her suddenly become fuzzy.
What do you mean, fuzzy? Did something happen to her?
All I know for sure is that somebody, for reasons only they can know, is deliberately obfuscating her fate. And whoever it is, if they can do that, who knows what else they're capable of.
But even that wouldn't explain how she somehow comes from this world.
Something else I noticed was that according to these records, the Fatui have not classified your sibling as one of the Descenders.
What's a Descender? Paimon's never heard of it.
Look, I'm sure you must be curious about the information I received from the Fatui in return for my gnosis, right? A very important part of the intel was about this world's Descenders. External beings, ones that don't belong to this world. Traveler, you are Teyvat's 4th Descender.
Huh? So the Fatui count 3 other Descenders before the Traveler, and his sister isn't even one of them?
That's right. My current hypothesis is that the first Descender was likely what we now call the Heavenly Principles. As for the other Descenders, I still need to verify their existence. It could take me some time.
Paimon's head's about to burst from all this crazy new information.
And yet, even knowing all this, I'm sure you must still have a lot of unanswered questions. I must say, I truly regret that I can't help you more as the God of Wisdom. There are many questions in my heart as well. I will need some time to go through each one of them. And soon, you'll also begin your journey anew and depart from Sumeru. I'm very interested in your future. It's a journey that can't be observed or recorded by this world. If fate is the ultimate knowledge, then your future will be the ultimate fate.
Paimon's sure glad we got to meet you, Nahida.
The pleasure is all mine. I can't thank you enough. Alright, that's enough talk for today. If you ever miss me, just close your eyes, and maybe I'll appear in your dreams.
You must have a whole bunch of questions after our last conversation with Nahida. Paimon was ready to ask her a million more questions, but didn't want to seem too pushy. Like, about these Descenders. So...
Yeah.
And as for your sister... Whew, so many questions. Let's go find Nahida and see what else we can find out.
नीचे
Come on, serious suggestions, please. I'm not trying to write a thriller here. It's supposed to be an essay, you understand? An essay. That means facts and logic.
Well, if it's facts and logic you're after, you shot yourself in the foot with your choice of research topic, didn't you?
भाई
The
but
Tataris Suna mystery.
अभी जो
When so
नेटलाइन
much
वाला जो
remains unexplained,
आर्कन
there's
पेज था
little to be
बहुत
objective about.
अच्छा था
Unless, of course, you restrict
बहुत मजा
yourself
आया
to textual criticism.
करके
Yeah, well, this is my teacher's area of research. I can't change that. But it's fascinating enough without having to sensationalize it, don't you think? The strange location, the missing details, a mysterious person. I want to write my essay on something interesting, and I'm interested in getting to the bottom of all this. That's the only reason I came to you.
Yes, you came to me. So all the more reason to take my advice. The fact is, it's the dramatization that will make people want to read it. There's no getting around that.
Okay, but...
Did one of them just mention Tatarasuna? But that's all the way in Inazuma! Is it just Paimon, or is it kinda unusual for someone in Sumeru to want to write a paper about that? Everyone here's just going about their business. Maybe it really is just Paimon. Guess people here are free to research pretty much anything. Great! Let's go find out what this Tatarasuna mystery is all about.
All right, I guess I'll go with my textual criticism and your editorial direction for the first draft. I have a feeling that the missing Kabuki Mono will end up being the main focus of this paper. Ugh, if only we knew where to find
गाइस
that
दो लोग देख रहे हो
traveler.
जरा
From what they
सब्सक्राइब
say
भी कर
about
दो
him,
जरा
this seems
और
like the
चैट
kind
भी
of
कर
thing
दो
he'd
जरा
know about.
मजा आ जाएगा थोड़ा
Oh, you're the traveler, you say?
Hey, what's with that face? Don't believe us?
No, of course I believe you. Actually, I first heard about your great exploits when I was still in Inazuma. This is my first time coming face to face with you and your mysterious silver-haired companion. I couldn't believe my luck, and out of force of habit, I started, examining the evidence. Sorry.
Oh, Sawada, for the love of... Sorry, we don't get out much, so our social skills are kinda lacking. Traveler, I hear you've helped many people a great deal and been to many places. Would you be able to tell us about Tatarasuna?
Actually, we don't know much about that place either. In fact, we only came over here because we heard you talking about it and wanted to learn more.
I see. My teacher chose this area of research as a personal challenge. He said it's difficult to get into because even Inazumans don't know much about Tatarasuna's past. But who'd have thought that...
If you don't mind, I'd love to show you all my outline for the book I'm writing about Tatarasuna.
Hold on, Sawada. Don't you think that's a bit of a deep dive or a first read?
Well, fair point. In that case, please ease yourselves in gently by taking a look at Akaba's latest essay draft.
Let me give you some background. This all started with the discovery of some records in Tatarasuna. The writings mentioned someone by the name of Mikoshi Nagamasa, who crafted a fine blade. But in the end, he threw it into a fire to destroy it, and killed his servant Katsuragi. Why? Well, no one knows. Apart from the swordmaker, his servant, and the one who wrote this all down, the records also mention a Kabuki Mono. This seems to be an Inazuman word for an eccentric stranger, someone who dresses funny or acts in an unusual way.
That's right. Akaba's teacher has spent quite some time researching these events on the ground. This Kabuki Mono lived in Tatarasuna for a while before disappearing without a trace. And shortly afterwards, as Akaba mentioned, things got pretty ugly.
So first this strange person goes missing, then a murder happens? Seems kinda fishy to Paimon.
Yes, my thoughts exactly. So I helped out too. I asked everyone I could think of if they knew anything about what happened back then. And wow! Did I get lucky!
Stop shouting!
This part's important. I just wanted to make it stand out. It just so happens that a friend of mine works at the government records office. He looked into it for me, and I can now confirm that all the aforementioned individuals did, in fact, live in Inazuma over 400 years ago. Even back then, Tatara Suna was already at the center of Inazuma's smelting industry. The man in charge was a government official named Niwa. Curiously enough, it seems like he went missing too.
Wait, so there are 2 missing people in the story now?
That's right! What's more, Niwa is a name with a lot of history to it. Have you ever heard of the great swordsmith clans of Inazuma?
Oh, the swordsmiths? Yeah, like Ishin art and so on?
Wow, yes. You really know your stuff. That makes things easier. So basically, this Niwa was a distant relative of the Kaidahara clan, the last practitioners of Ishin art. Something then seems to have happened in the Kaidahara clan, leading to their downfall. I don't know the details, but taken in light of everything else going on around that time, it makes you wonder whether it's all connected somehow.
The Kaidahara clan?
Sawada, you left out the biggest detail of all.
Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget? Brace your minds, ladies and gents, for they are about to be blown. Or maybe you won't believe your ears. I wouldn't blame you, of course, because in all my years as a writer, this is by far the most.
Get to the point, for Pete's sake.
According to information acquired by Akaba's teacher, the Kabuki...
Puppet?
Aha! Judging by the looks on your faces, you do know something after all.
No! Paimon just meant, how creepy. The way you described it makes it sound like a ghost story.
I agree, it does. But considering that non-human races in Inazuma are by no means uncommon, spooky events are to be expected. And that's exactly what my book is about. Please, take a look.
बाद में पढ़ूंगा ये भी
Oh,
अभी
and
पढ़ने का
please
मन
read
नहीं।
my essay
इतना बड़ा
draft as
बुक
well.
भाई ये भी बुक दे रहा है मुझे।
Sawada was
Promotion नहीं
encouraging me
चाहिए
to
था।
follow his more creative approach, but I think essays should be grounded in facts. I don't think explaining everything away with mysterious forces will cut it. Oh, how about if I plug the holes in Sawada's narrative with political intrigue? Like, I could put a turf war between rival factions at the center of the whole series of events.
Wait, you're allowed to just make stuff up? Pretty sure you've gone from essay to guessay there.
Akaba, look. Your teacher has researched this extensively. I've reached out to everyone I could think of. Whatever information we have now is all that there is to know. This is as much detail as you're ever going to get. Besides, if there really was a political power struggle going on at anything like the level you seem to be suggesting, what hope would we ever have of finding out the truth?
Good point. Okay, back to the drawing board, I guess. Give me some time. I need to find a new angle on this.
We have some other stuff to do, so we'll have to say goodbye for now. Good luck with your essay!
All right, thank you. If you find out any more info about all this, please do let me know. Thanks so much.
Hey, so that thing they were talking about, it has to do with the balladeer, doesn't it? Okay, then even if we did know something about it, we probably couldn't share it with them, huh? After all, we kicked his butt and got him locked up. Information about people like that is usually super confidential, isn't it? If you ask Paimon, Akaba should just pick a different topic. There must be as many essay topics as there are trees in the forest. There's no point in... Ah! Hey, did you see that? He literally just went by, over there. It looked like... the Balladeer! No, it can't have been. He got locked up. Oh, quick, let's catch up and see.
ये फिरता गया, इसको तो लॉक करके रखा था।
Traveler, Paimon, there you are.
Nahida! Bad news. We just saw the Balladeer strolling around in public. Did he escape or... Ah! It's him!
Sure enough, you're here.
Hey! What are you doing in the sanctuary of Surastana? Aren't you supposed to be lacked up?
I know you must have a lot of questions. Please, allow me to explain. It was my idea to set the Balladeer free. We made a deal, and he's gonna do some investigation in Irminsul for me.
A deal? Huh. You sure you trust this guy?
What did you expect? Why do you think Sumeru would keep me around otherwise? Or maybe killing me is all you can think about. But if that's the case, why haven't you done it already?
Don't flatter yourself. It was... Nahida said there's still some mysteries in you to figure out.
Ah, so if it were up to you, you'd finish the job? Guess I had you all wrong. There I was thinking you were just getting cold feet.
Well, that escalated quickly. Not a good start. Could I ask you all to please calm down?
But Paimon's worried about you, Nahida. Don't let him trick you.
It's not every day you see people questioning the God of Wisdom's judgment. Just when you think you've seen it all.
Don't you dare try to drive a wedge between us!
As long as the terms are reasonable, I don't think there's a problem in making a deal. Even with the Balladeer.
Well, I for one have no reason to doubt you. Considering you even struck a deal with the doctor.
Yes, one in which I gained valuable information. You'll come to understand more about that in the fullness of time. The Balladeer's power was all but completely spent after your battle. He's no longer strong enough to be a strategic threat to us. That puts him in quite a precarious position. Plus, he's a former harbinger with knowledge of many of the Fatui's sensitive secrets. Being stuck here in Sumeru could make him a sitting duck, depending on how the Fatui plan to respond.
Wait a second. Farmer? You mean he's not a harbinger anymore?
I take no pleasure in saying this, but it seems as if the doctor had no intention of welcoming back a loser, so...
Sometimes it's you using them, other times it's them using you. Most human relationships are this way. Certainly all the stable ones are. That's how it was between me and the Fatui, and also between each of the Harbingers. So as long as you have some value to offer, nobody will ever abandon you. But after recent events, even I have to admit that I'm not worth quite what I used to be. Well, if the Fatui are gonna reevaluate my utility, I need to have a backup plan for myself.
As we discussed, I don't like causing harm to living beings, and you said you need protection. So, why not join forces with us?
I think these two have made their objection
Hello,
to that
Kitan
idea
Gamer.
fairly clear.
कैसे हो?
Don't you? And they're your friends. So I guess you'll be siding with them.
Yeah, obviously!
Welcome to the stream.
Nahida, don't listen to him! Then let's put that discussion to the side for now. We still have time. Today can be a trial run. Where we go from here will depend on how well we manage to cooperate today.
All right. Then I'll do what we agreed.
Good. Go now, and keep in touch.
Nahida, are you serious about this?
Yes. I have my reasons for this decision. In fact, I'm largely doing it for your benefit. Yes. As I told you once before, there's information about your twin in Irminsul.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Actually, that's the whole
Hello,
reason
Kitan
we came
Gamer.
to see
Bolo,
you
bolo.
today. So, you have an update on that?
Mm-hmm. You may remember me mentioning that the Fatui had not included your twin's details in the Descender category. This is an extremely important point. It's possible that the Fatui have other information that even I don't know about. And since the Balladeer used to be one of them,
भाई ये पायमन
he'll
ज़्यादा
be
ही
better
बोलती है भाई.
acquainted with this information
इसको
than
शांत
I am.
कराना पड़ता
He was granted the power to connect with Irminsul when he
है.
era.
हेलो किटन गेमर, बोलो
Even
बोलो.
though he no longer has
सुन रहा हूँ मैं आपकी
gnosis,
बातें.
some traces of its power remain in him. He can still connect. The amount of information in Irminsul is vast beyond description. Sifting through all of it without knowing what to look for would take too long, even for me. So I asked the Balladeer to search in Irminsul for any information about the Descenders. He's more familiar with this kind of information, and should be able to find it more quickly.
ये सब भी होता है.
Exactly! Or what if... Paimon just doesn't trust him! He's treated us as enemies every time we've run into him!
I understand. But sometimes, everything is dictated by which side you're on. How things will go in the future depends on what information he brings back. And Traveler, I know what your heart desires most of all. Our minds have connected several times before.
भाई इसको पता है तो भी इतना explanation देने की जरूरत नहीं है भाई.
A feeling of being all alone in the dark, searching for the one candle whose light still burns. As Sumeru's deity, it is my responsibility to be on guard against the Balladeer. But as someone who counts you as a friend, I want to do something for you. If this deal with the Balladeer can give you the answers you've been longing to
पहले ही
find,
बैलेडियर ने बहुत
then
एक
it's
करके
worth
रखा था पिछले इसमें भी. तो भी इसको अब क्या
It's my
बोलूं.
pleasure, really. You're Sumeru's hero. You've more than earned it.
Paimon's still worried about this idea. Is there anything we can do to help?
I was going to contact you about that, but then you suddenly showed up on your own accord. Seems like we have a telepathic connection. In fact, I was going to ask you to supervise the Balladeer on my behalf while he carries out the task I assigned. Even though he only has a fraction of his full power left, that's still a fraction of a former harbinger. If you could accompany him, it would put my mind at ease. Of course, I'll be there to help guide you through Irminsul from the outside. Great, thank you. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to transport you into Irminsul.
Wow! It looks pretty different here compared to last time. The colors are gentler. Guess that must be because Sumeru's at peace now.
Look at that. Hot on my heels. You know, you didn't have to cut your catch-up short just to keep me company. Oh, but I guess you panicked when you realized that I might enter Irminsul ahead of you.
Shut your beak, jailbird! No way a prisoner gets to be so smug!
I understand that prisoners have to put up with harassment from the guards. But right now, I'm on temporary release. So maybe you should think about backing off a little.
Sounds like a successful rendezvous. I need to be quite clear about something. In a few moments, you'll be entering into the innermost region of Irminsul. It is an environment like no other, and the most important place in all of Sumeru. Unlike anywhere else, Irminsul's inner region consists exclusively of torrents of information. You must put aside your differences and be extremely careful as you navigate your way through. I know there are many grievances between you on both sides, but it is essential that you remain calm after entry. This is as much for your own safety as anything else.
Fine. Let's call it truce. But only until this mission's over.
Let's cut each other a little slack, shall we? We are gonna be traveling together after all. Per my agreement with Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'll be at the front. It's my job to lead the way and get rid of any obstacles in our path. All you have to do is keep your pretty eyes open and try not to fall behind.
You sure are confident. Paimon will give you that. You make it sound like you're even more experienced at adventuring than us.
If there are no further objections, I suggest we get going. Or did you need some time to mentally prepare yourselves?
Ew! Ugh, the snark on this guy. It's unbearable.
We can start now.
Irminsul access granted. Initiating connection procedure.
Is this a small sapling? Oh, darn it! Come on, let's catch up with him. Wow! So this is the inside of Irminsul. Ooh, Paimon's never seen anything like this. And it feels like a sacred place.
Irminsul is closely intertwined with the entirety of Teyvat. Every bit of information flowing here means something. Pick your jaws up off the floor. It's time to go.
Why is it that Paimon just wants to do the opposite of everything he says?
Lesser Lord Kusanali, we will now proceed to the heart of Irminsul.
Can you still sense where the heart of Irminsul is?
Yes. Permission to begin searching for information there?
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Let's go. Stay close. Don't go running off.
Hey, so... say we did go running off in here. What would happen? What are you smirking at?
I was just imagining the look on your travel companion's face if you went and got lost. Anything's possible in here. You can't rule anything out. So if you want to stay safe, your best option is to stick close to me.
These sapling things have spread out.
Those are all packets of information from inside Irminsul. Be careful not to touch them.
It looks the same in every direction. wonder he mentioned about getting lost. Huh. What do you know? He was actually telling the truth. Is he mocking me again? What is it this time?
There's a time and a place to lie, but this definitely isn't it. So why don't you relax your guard a little? We're here.
What a huge tree!
गाइस यार 3 लोग देख रहे हो, जरा सब्सक्राइब भी कर दो भाई।
You made it. Are you ready?
Ready when you are.
Then please begin. Preparing to access cognitive currents. Establishing waypoint.
The Balladeer's actually doing what Nahida tells him. Guess he must want to stay alive.
The rest is up to you. If you discover anything at all, make sure to share it with us.
Will do.
Huh. For once, we're the ones with nothing to do.
Traveler, Paimon, would you like to talk? Yes, I've also invited Paimon to join.
Huh? What the? We can talk to each other inside our heads?
That's part of it. Plus, we're all friends. There's nothing wrong with us talking like this once in a while.
Paimon's never tried this before. This is great! So, Paimon's been wanting to ask you something. Don't you think the Balladeer's a bit of a walking contradiction? He's always talking back, but he seems to listen to what you say.
As I've told you before, there are still some mysteries for him to resolve. Things that are clear as day to me, but that he has yet to understand. Perhaps today will be the day that he finds some answers. Well done. Smart and attentive as always. So, you made contact with that part of his mind. Well, it's true. Betrayal turned the Balladeer into the person he is today.
Huh. Paimon thought nothing could get under that guy's skin. Turns out, he can get hurt and angry just like anyone else.
Everyone has a history, Paimon. Even if you're a puppet created by the Archon.
Speaking of puppets, we ran into two people at the Academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatarasuna incident. Nahida, do you know anything about that?
If you mean the mysterious events, the Kabuki Mono and so on, yes. I know about all of that.
Really? Because from what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatarasuna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with their imagination. At least that's what they thought.
Oh? How interesting. Those two managed to deduce quite a lot through guesswork alone.
So the Genshin got it right?
Well, they guessed right about one thing. Tatarasuna was sabotaged.
Must be a riveting conversation you three are having. Funny how all the good ones happen when I'm not involved.
What makes you think we're talking to each other?
Don't insult me. You're having a private conversation without me. Obviously, I must be the topic of said conversation. Of course you do. You can't have your prisoner knowing too much.
So, have you found anything yet?
Still looking. Don't get your hopes up, though. You and your twin come from outside this world. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nothing on either of you in Irminsul at all.
Wait! How did you know about that? Didn't Nahida tell you?
It's not like we've never met before. And anyway, you're world famous. It'd be more surprising if I didn't know a few things about you. Right now, we have to keep the peace. I'm not interested in creating more misery for myself. And making cordial conversation is something I can manage. Huh? Wait.
This light. It looks similar to those saplings. What could it be?
Anonymous data.
Hey, don't you forget the agreement. You have to share it with us.
Shh. Just wait.
Mr. Niwa, are you certain this is worth the risk? We are talking about Tatara Suna's furnace, after all. It may not pay to act rashly.
There's no one else who can enter the furnace. It has to be me.
Is that so? Well, since you insist.
It's...
Whoa!
I have been in Tatara Suna for some time now. You have shown me great hospitality, as has Mikoshi Nagamasa, and indeed, everyone else. Under your leadership, Tatara Suna is a warm, welcoming place, like a giant village. People are gainfully employed, their lives have purpose. They are motivated. As I understand, the Raiden Shogun has, in recent years, eliminated much of the evil that plagued Inazuma. As for Tatara Suna, it was originally established as a means of safely disposing crystal marrow. The forging industry with crystal marrow as a raw material has since flourished, giving rise to generations of swordsmiths. Some world-renowned, others unknown, all passing on their legacy. Skills, blood, dreams. Every smith brought into this trade looks to find their purpose between steel and blade. That is why you accepted the proposal brought to you by myself and Akame.
Yes, well, were it not for you coming to Inazuma and happening to make Akame's acquaintance, the two of you never would have joined forces. And he would be the first to admit that there's no way he could have revolutionized our forging process like this on his own. At least not on the same timescale. You allowed Akame to take all the credit for a method that you jointly developed. He sold it to me, and now every piece of ore here is smelted using the new technique. Even now, you remain one of Tatara Suna's key consultants, working right here alongside us. I believe it is you, sir, who are truly responsible for the changes in our manufacturing and forging methods.
You flatter me. From the outset, I saw much that was commendable in the forging industry of Inazuma, and it has been my great honor to befriend you all.
So you say, Escher. But is this really the truth?
My good sir, what do you mean?
I tried to resist thinking it was all connected. Because I didn't want to speculate. And I didn't want to believe that things could turn out this way. What have we gained from adopting your new technology? Ominous black smoke? Mounting production problems? Worker fatigue and casualties are up and continuing to rise at an alarming rate. And recently, as you well know, someone died because of that strange filth inside the furnace. We've kept the truth from spreading outside, but still, I suspect you understand it better than I do. None of the people who went out to get help have come back. Now, our mutual friend, the Kabuki Mono, is taking the Golden Feather to Narukami Island to seek an audience with Shogun. This is our last hope. But that doesn't faze you, does it, Escher? Nothing does. Otherwise, why would you still be standing there with that smile on your face?
I'm just surprised that you finally chose to be so sincere. I'm sure you've been harboring these suspicions for quite some time.
Mikoshi Nagamasa may have noticed that there was one common denominator among all these events. Namely you, Escher. But Mr. Mikoshi is more cautious than I. He does things by the book.
After all, Nagamasa is the adopted son of Mikoshi Torichio, the yokai struck down by the Shogun's own hand. If he truly seeks to redeem his family's honor, an abundance of caution is well advised.
You're well informed on the subtleties of his situation for a mechanic all the way from Fontaine. Are you sure you're not a little overqualified?
Why, Mr. Niwa, are you suggesting I find a job as a diplomat? Sadly, I am so very attached to my craft.
Enough, Escher. I'm here because an evil force is raging inside the furnace. And someone needs to take your new device inside the high-risk zone so we can absorb it and put an end to the problem. I'm in charge here. And I'm about to take some responsibility and head inside. Probably to my death. But what about you? What are you still doing here?
Judging from the look in your eyes, you don't seem to trust me.
Drop the act! We're past that now. Whoever you are, it looks like your plan to destroy Tatarasuna has worked. I just want to know what you're still doing here. What's left? Don't you have all your answers by now?
Honestly, I'm just waiting for the right moment. A moment like this, where you finish talking and I stop you from entering the furnace.
You...
You're a little smarter than I initially gave you credit for. I thought I'd disguised myself exceptionally well, at least for the first few days. But to my surprise, you had your people look into my background right from the start. It's a long journey from Inazuma to Fontaine, but that didn't stop them. Eventually, they managed to confirm that Escher was an alias, and that I was not from Fontaine at all. And yet, despite all of that, you still fail to realize my true identity, and what I seek in Tatarasuna.
Did you really think you would be able to see through my plan?
If you kill me, there's no one who can get inside the furnace. So you're really going to destroy this place? Is that it?
Oh, but you're quite wrong. There is one other person. Some may not see him as a person, but you told him yourself. You're not a puppet. You're a human. You're just missing a heart.
Whoever you're working for won't get away with this. They'll be found out. But this makes no sense. What are you really trying to accomplish by all this? Why go to all this trouble?
It's no trouble at all. Patience is a virtue which I have in abundance. This is all part of a carefully controlled experiment. If you must know, I'm happy to divulge my true identity. I'm a Fatui harbinger. Call me the Doctor.
The Fatui? Who? What do you want?
Just to create a minor inconvenience for your nation.
That's it? That's why you gave us your cursed technology? Just to let loose the evil energy from the crystal marrow?
Look how even the righteous soul is filled with venom when faced with its demise. My device functions precisely as you say. It is the only chance you have of preventing a catastrophe and keeping the truth from the outside world. However, I did not make it with you in mind. It is easier for a person to be possessed by evil spirits when they are filled with hate. so give in to your fury. I want to see what happens when a malevolent heart is placed into an unsuspecting puppet. Make no mistake, even without you, that pure, innocent puppet would only end up being used by someone else instead. What other reason would a human have for befriending one who is not of our kind?
If you give him my heart, tell him that both Nagamasa and I see him as one of us. He has nothing to prove to anyone. Because not everyone just wants to use other people. The only ones who think like that are people like you.
What a beautiful way to see the world. It almost makes me feel a little guilty. Then out of respect for you, I shall redefine myself. Think of me as a monster or a demon, if you wish. At least this way your death is not a consequence of your own folly turning you into an easy target. You simply lost to something more powerful than you could ever hope to defeat. I say, Mr. Niwa, let's see what happens. Will your puppet friend become a human? No, that will prove quite impossible. Mr. Niwa? Already dead. What a pity. Jester, I have completed the task you gave me. Creating a gap and infiltrating Inazuma's inner workings. What fun it was. I'd like to introduce a puppet to you. If he proves useful, let's make him our newest comrade. And if not, let's turn him to dust.
Hey, are you all right?
Dottore. Dottore! Good. Good.
Was that the doctor? Did he turn into a mechanic from Fontaine? But why did we see things from his perspective?
When I touched the doctor to confirm whether he'd eliminated all his segments, I read this memory in his mind. You have to admit, it must be the truth.
Maybe so, but it means nothing.
Does it? But this memory shows that Niwa didn't betray you. He never meant for you to be the one to take the device into the furnace. You know very well what that means. Even more so than I.
Let's give him some space. He looks really mad. Paimon doesn't want to be anywhere near him right now.
We need to give him some time to process his emotions.
Paimon's still confused about the Tatarasuna incident. So, the doctor was behind it, but why has that gotten him so worked up?
Nobody has ever deceived you like that, Paimon. It's natural that you find it difficult to understand. Perhaps he needed to learn this someday. So now you have the complete picture. Katsuragi took the Kabuki Mono to live with the people of Tatarasuna. Later, The doctor showed up, disguised as the mechanic from Fontaine. And that's when the trouble began. It was all a horrific experiment planned by the doctor. Everything he did was just to plant seeds of disaster in Inazuma that would bear fruit in the future. Of all the unwitting participants in the doctor's experiment, the balladeer became the main test subject. After the events you just saw in that memory, the doctor put Niwa's heart into the device and handed it to the balladeer. Then, he instructed him to enter the furnace and absorb all the filth caused by the smelting process. The load was far beyond what he expected, but the balladeer survived. He left the furnace in sheer exhaustion and said to the mechanic, "This device seems to have protected me. What's in it?" The mechanic answered, "Niwa fled this place for fear of punishment, but he left you a gift. He said it's the one thing that you've been looking for." He took it straight from the chest of one of his innocent servants. The mechanic removed the withered heart from the device as he spoke. The balladeer was stunned that such unthinkable cruelty had brought him the thing he'd been longing for his entire life. A heart acquired through cold-blooded murder is a cursed thing, but it has protected him from the filth. He thought Niwa had completely betrayed him, and yet this very betrayal had ensured his survival. Overwhelmed with anger and sorrow, the balladeer threw the heart to the ground and left Tatarasuna without looking back.
Holy moly! So the doctor killed an innocent man and pinned everything on the victim? That's terrible.
हेलो गेमिंग क्राउन कैसे हो?
Yes. Only if he understands this can he choose a new path forward.
Tottori, you brazen-faced... Niwa didn't run from justice. You killed him.
Shall we see how he's doing? Hey, you alright? That's a scary expression.
Are you worried about me?
कौन सा गेम है?
If we didn't have
ये
such a
जेंशन
history,
इम्पैक्ट है.
I'd almost think that qualifies me to be your friend.
जेंशन इम्पैक्ट है ये जेंशन इम्पैक्ट.
It won't. I'll keep my end of the deal.
अच्छा गेम है, बहुत अच्छा गेम है. 2020 में आया था. अभी तक चल रहा है, मतलब स्टोरी लाइन पूरा.
Investigating the stuff we want to know about?
बहुत बड़ा मैप है इसमें.
That's why we're here. But unfortunately, there's no information about the descenders in Irminsul.
Even if you can't find anything, that seems to confirm it. Irminsul does not keep records on the descenders. Anyone who comes from beyond this world is not counted as part of Teyvat.
Oh, does that mean we have to leave empty-handed?
Don't thank me just yet. You look really upset. Well, since Irminsul is a dead end, I
अच्छा
guess I
स्टोरी
can
गेम.
share some other info that might interest you.
अच्छा अच्छा स्टोरी गेम नहीं है, बोल नहीं सकते, मतलब
The reason why there are
ओपन
records
वर्ल्ड
about your
गेम है,
sister
पूरा
in
ओपन वर्ल्ड
Irminsul.
गेम है.
It might have something to do with Conria.
एल्डन रिंग जैसा ही है, समझ लो. एल्डन रिंग और इसका जैसा ही है. कैरेक्टर भी प्ले करने मिलेगा, सब कुछ. प्लस स्टोरी लाइन भी है इसमें. ऐसा है. बहुत सारे स्टोरीज है अलग अलग के.
The jester told me this himself. You can take his word on this.
स्टोरीज ज्यादा नहीं है. स्टोरीज कुछ चैप्टर्स रहेंगे, मतलब 1-2 घंटे का स्टोरीज रहेगा. बाकी सब एक्सप्लोरेशन करने का, एक्सप्लोर करना है पूरा वर्ल्ड को. फाइट करना है, अलग अलग बॉसेस होंगे, अलग अलग. वो भी बहुत स्ट्रांग होंगे बॉसेस.
Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Yes. Astonishing news.
Does this info count towards my mission? It wasn't from Irminsul. But was
ये
it
स्टोरी को
valuable?
ऐसा आर्कॉन मिशन क्वेस्ट होता है ना, आर्कॉन क्वेस्ट होता है ना, वैसे बोलते.
In that case,
आर्कॉन
I'll
मतलब
take some time for
इसमें
myself
है
now.
ये होता है, मतलब एक भगवान जैसे बोल सकते हो तुम.
What have you done?
Lesser Lord Kusanali was right. My power's all but completely spent. Even if I use all of the divine power left in me, I can't sustain this shield for very long. I shared a secret with you, and now you owe me. So in return, I'd like you to answer a question for me. Give me your hand.
Okay. जी.
Can you hear my voice inside your head?
Are you trying to
No,
pronounce me?
I
Oh,
can't
bhai.
do anything like that anymore. At most, all I can do is exchange a few words with you. So tell me, in this world, is it possible to change the past?
Why would you ask that?
Done.
Huh? What the? What happened? Paimon only saw you hold hands for a second.
Nothing. I was just thanking him for helping me. So long. I suggest you get yourselves out of here quickly.
Where are you going? Hey, wait up! Didn't you say not to go running off?
Fast reaction time. But I don't think we'll be seeing each other again.
ये एनिमेशंस बहुत अच्छे.
From this day forth, the names Balladeer and Kabuki Mono will cease to exist. Those who died in Tatarasuna because of me deserve another chance at life.
Hey, Balladeer! Don't do anything stupid!
You know, I never did like insects. Hordes of the puny things swarming together can be a real nuisance. And I enjoy nothing more than to stamp them out like the pests they are. But if a colony of harmless ants isn't threatening anyone, I guess they deserve to be left alone. Luckily, everything can be set right. It's time to solve this once and for all.
Balladeer! Balladeer! Uh-oh, he disappeared. Come on, we gotta find him somehow. Oh no, he's really gone.
Oh, can you hear me?
Nahida!
Traveler, Paimon, Balladeer, what happened just now? I was suddenly cut off by some kind of power.
It was the Balladeer's fault. He shut you out.
I didn't think he'd be capable of something like that with so little power left. Did he keep some of his power hidden when he was defeated? Or did he achieve something beyond his abilities, and it took everything he had?
Where the heck did he go? Ugh, it's all our fault. We were supposed to keep an eye on him. Sorry, Nahida.
Don't be. It's not your fault. Please, let me handle this from here, even though I'm not sure I can solve it. We're running out of time. Follow my lead and get out of Irminsul as soon as possible.
We're out! And we're at, an inn or something?
This is an emergency. I'll have to ask you to stay here for now. Everything's arranged, and nobody will disturb you. I'm sorry, but this isn't something I need your help with. Leave this one to me.
An emergency? How bad is it? Nahida, will you be okay?
Don't worry. If my assessment is correct, though there may be some minor disturbances, it won't lead to a disaster. Please rest and recover your strength here until I say it's safe.
Her voice has gone. Paimon can't shake the feeling that something really big has happened. What do you think the Balladeer meant? And why did he suddenly grab onto you before? He wants to change the past? But surely that's impossible! Right! You can't just rewrite history! All that stuff happened already in real life! It's like, imagine Paimon drank all the water in this inn. Even if no one was there to see it, Paimon would sure as heck remember drinking it! So, why does Paimon still have a bad feeling about this? Paimon can't help but feel scared about what he might do. Oh, Paimon's so confused. Huh? Sorry, Paimon accidentally... It's the Balladeer's fault for causing Paimon all this mental stress. But erasing yourself from history? It's unthinkable. Is that really possible in Irminsul? Uh-oh. Paimon's head is overheating from trying to understand what he's up to. And it's still not working. Ugh. Paimon's had it with that little brat. He's been nothing but trouble ever since we met him. There's no way he'll actually succeed, right? Otherwise, won't everyone who's connected to him be affected too? There's nothing we can do about it at this point. Hey, have you got any ideas on what we should do next? Seems like now there's nothing left for us to do but to go to sleep. But Paimon's still so worried. Paimon won't be able to sleep a wink tonight. So, how about, we list all our favorite foods to take our mind off things? Heck, if that doesn't work, Paimon's probably gonna collapse of anxiety here. Alright, Paimon will start. First dish. Munstack grilled fish. Oh, and chicken mushroom skewers. Tea break pancakes. Cream stew. Sauteed matsutake. And Dragon chili chicken. Almond tofu. Satisfying salad. Oh, also Adeptus Temptation. Golden shrimp balls. Triple layered consomme. Lotus seed and bird egg soup. And... What was Paimon supposed to be doing just now? Paimon was, talking? Huh. Paimon suddenly can't remember what she was... The Balladeer? Is that a food too? Huh. Weird name, though. What's wrong? Your eyes are like saucers. Was it something Paimon said? So, the Balladeer. Is that someone's name? 'Cause it sounds like a nickname or something. Okay, sure. Where are we going? Huh? Fine by Paimon, but is everything okay? You're...
Ah, it's been a while. Of course. Go ahead. No. Now there's a question I wasn't expecting. The once renowned Raiden Gokuden, comprised of 5 branches. Amenoma, Futsu, Ishin, Hyakume, and Senju. The art of forging practiced by these 5 clans was first taught to them personally by the almighty Shogun. Over time, the 5 branches diverged from one another as generations of bladesmiths honed and perfected their craft until they became 5 distinct traditions. Most of the great swordsmith clans of old have since fallen into decline, and for a long time, only the Amenoma branch kept its art alive. But fortunately, Kaedehara Kazuha recently returned to Inazuma and took up the mantle of the Ishin art. Now, 2 clans remain of the original Gokuden 5. If my memory serves me right, you yourself were present when he forged the Ishin blade.
Thanks for a sub, जिसने भी subscribe किया है.
Yeah, we were! Paimon remembers that now. We learned a bit about the decline of the Raiden Gokuden then, too. It seems like such a shame.
That, my friends, is a tragic tale indeed. In fact, this was not made known to me for most of my life. All these years, I knew of those great clans' demise, but never the cause. Only recently, when the question was on my mind, did I ask Kaedehara Kazuha about this. He told me that, as we are both heirs to a branch of the Raiden Gokuden, it was right that I should know the truth. There is no harm in telling you, but I must warn you. It is a dark and sorrowful tale. The Raiden Gokuden were the targets of a murderous rampage by a vengeful bladesmith.
Vengeful? Why?
400 years ago, so I'm told, there was a catastrophic malfunction in Tatarasuna's furnace. One brave swordsmith heard the commotion and chose not to flee, but he rushed to the scene, hoping to prevent a disaster. Tatarasuna was home to a state-of-the-art forging and smelting operation in that day, and overseeing it was the armory officer. His surname was Niwa, though he had family ties to the Kaedehara clan. Knowing that they had just one chance to save countless lives, Mr. Niwa and the swordsmith leaped together into the furnace. The furnace quickly stabilized, but neither of them made it out. The smith's death, though heroic, dealt a devastating blow to his family's fortunes. His orphan son was left to fend for himself, and grew up deeply resentful at the world. In his heart, the whole of Inazuma was culpable in his tragedy. He hated the almighty Shogun for her apparent indifference towards his father's death, and he hated everyone who had done nothing to try and save him. Powerless and destitute, the only legacy he had to pass on to his children was his hatred. Generation after generation bore this grudge, living in utter misery. Alas, if only the story could have ended there. But 100 years ago, the then head of this family reached the end of his wits. He could bear their fate no longer, and yet he could do nothing to change it. Finally, he made a drastic decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokuden. In doing so, he sought to vent his pet anger and shake the very foundations of Inazuma's forging industry. In his fury, he murdered indiscriminately, killing even bladesmiths from the Hyakume clan which he belonged to. His goal was absolute, the devastation of all of the Raiden Gokuden. But when he came to the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans, his killing spree came to an abrupt end. He failed to catch them unawares. They fought back fiercely, and they did not spare his life. That is why the Kaedehara clan and their Ishin art survived that day. I suppose they were the lucky ones, under the dire circumstances.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. We spoke for a while over some tea. He seemed well. My pleasure.
Don't tell Paimon. There are other places you want to visit too, right? On to the next stop! Lead the way, traveler! Paimon will be right behind you!
The fireworks are gonna get soaked! Let's find...
We're here! This is the Yashiro Commission's headquarters, so...
Traveler! It's been a while. If you're looking for the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I'm afraid your timing is unfortunate. They're not here right now.
Are they out on business?
The Commissioner is out on business, and Miss Kamisato is standing in for some meetings in the Commissioner's place. If it's urgent, you're welcome to wait inside until they get back.
What do you think? Shall we go in?
If it were anyone else, I couldn't allow it. But seeing as you're so close with the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I think it should be okay.
We'll be heading in then. Thanks!
Hello, dears. Is there something you want to say? Of course, traveler. Yes, I know who you are. Miss Kamisato has told me about you. What would you like to know? Oh, they're both very well indeed. Lately, Miss Kamisato has been rather busy attending all kinds of meetings and occasionally paying visits to some local organizations on the Commissioner's behalf. As for the Commissioner himself, well, you know, busy as ever. That much hasn't changed. Although he does seem to be in a rather good mood these days.
So pretty much business as usual in the Yashiro Commission, huh?
Very much so.
Well, got any more questions?
You're very welcome. In fact, I would love nothing more than for you to come and visit more often. But I'm sure you must be far too busy to have time for that. Miss Kamisato talks about you all the time. She seems so thrilled to have you as a friend, and she's always saying how talented you are and how much she admires you. I must say, many things in Inazuma seem to have taken a turn for the better since you arrived here. So you're not just Miss Kamisato's knight in shining armor, you know. You're a hero to us all. I mean it. Whenever the Commissioner dines at home, Toma always joins him. I always find myself at my most relaxed when I'm serving the two of them and listening to them chat away. The Commissioner has such a busy schedule that he doesn't always have the chance to take his meals at home. But given the opportunity, he always prefers to dine here. They say it's because Toma is a much better chef than most. Oh, the commissioner is so fond of home comforts. They get to talking about you sometimes too, you know. Always with a very fond tone. The way one would talk about dear old friends around whom one can truly be themselves. Miss Kamisato occasionally joins them as well. Whenever the whole family gets together and they start talking about people they've met and experiences they've had, you always get a mention. It's been many years now since the late Mr. and Mrs. Kamisato passed away. Much as someone who is old and gray enough to have watched their son and daughter grow up, it makes me so happy to see them meet a dependable friend whose company they enjoy so much. So, in the future, if you ever do have the time, please know you are always very welcome at the Yashiro Commission headquarters. There will always be at least one old lady who would be delighted to have the pleasure of your company. Wonderful. Thank you.
Paimon likes it here too. Also, you were saying something about the food here being really great. Paimon's itching to try it.
Of course.
All right, goodbye for now. We're great. Goodbye, ma'am. Don't worry, we'll see ourselves out.
All right, then.
Oh, are you two leaving already?
Yep, everything's taken care of now. Don't worry.
Very well. Safe travels.
Well, here we are. But what are we looking for? Something? Or
Do my eyes deceive me, or is that the Traveler and Paimon?
Xavier? What are you doing here?
I was in the general area, and now I'm in this specific area. There, that's me. So what about you two?
We have some questions and thought you might be able to help.
Certainly do. I've researched the furnace here in some depth. If there's anything you want to know, just ask away. Like the back of my hand. Make no mistake, I have been here a good many times before. Not only that, but I've met people in Inazuma whose families used to live in Tatarasuna years ago. They said it's all true. Oh, well, it's a long story, don't you know? The tale of Tatarasuna starts a long time ago. I'm told that its history is one of the most foremost forging and smelting operations in the nation, goes back around 1,000 years. Still, the furnace has had a couple of serious maintenance issues along the way.
A couple?
One was just in the last few years, the other was several hundred years ago. A fun fact, I'm not the first Fontaine tech guy to come and work on it either. There was a guy back then too. They say he was a mechanic who consulted on a technology upgrade. It seems like the technological collaboration between our two nations goes back a long way.
Hey, weren't you gonna ask Xavier something about Tatar?
Oh, I didn't realize you two were here for a history lesson.
Me neither. Paimon doesn't know what's gotten into this one today. Feels like we've been preparing for a history exam or something.
What brought this on? Did you just wake up? Sure, go ahead. A kabuki mono? No, I can't say that I have. I do know the word. Inazuman for those eccentric types who always go around dressed to the nines. Just the sort of person that I'd like to meet, actually. But sadly, I've never had the pleasure, nor have I come across anything to do with a kabuki mono where Tatara Suna is concerned. Of course! Don't mention it.
Oh, we're leaving? Okay, bye, Xavier.
Oh, you're most welcome. More than happy to help. Farewell.
Looks like you got all the information you're looking for. Sure, but what's up with you today? Keep your smile, Spinal Crocodile. Now, come on. You gotta keep it together. Why don't you grab something to eat? You can't go facing life's challenges on an empty stomach. All right, let's head off and go meet Nahida.
Illusion shattered.
हेलो फैजल भाई भाई आपने प्लेलिस्ट नहीं सेंड की अरे यार भूल गया मैं भूल गया फैजल भाई भूल गया एक मैसेज डाल दिया करो यार मैं भूल जाता हूँ सुन के यार भूल गया भाई सॉरी सॉरी आज दे दूंगा ये मैसेज डाल दो सर्वर पे मैं देखता हूँ और आपको दे दूंगा उस पे फैजल भाई बहुत दिन बाद आए इसकी तो
Solidify.
There is no escape. Torn to oblivion. Illusion shattered.
यार क्या है, लिंक दो ना। लिंक के देखो लिंक इधर लिंक आएगा नहीं, ऐसा प्रॉब्लम है। शॉर्ट्स पे लिंक नहीं आती, मतलब मैं सेंड कर दूंगा ना तो भी आप क्लिक नहीं कर पाओगे लिंक पे, ये प्रॉब्लम है। मैं सेंड कर दूंगा पर क्लिक नहीं होगा वो लिंक। दिखा देता हूँ आपको एक बार, रुको। कितना है मेरे पास? अरे 8 है।
But a momentary distraction. डिस्कॉर्ड पे आप कौन से सर्वर में ज्वाइन है? मेरी सर्वर में ज्वाइन हो, डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक है देखो, उसमें ज्वाइन हो, या ओम भाई की सर्वर में ज्वाइन हो। कौन से सर्वर में ज्वाइन है आप? चलो गाइस, आज के लिए इतना ही, बस हो गया आज के लिए जंक्शन इतना। थोड़ी देर बाद मैं आता हूँ तुरंत। माइनक्राफ्ट खेलेंगे उस टाइम, माइनक्राफ्ट खेलने में मजा आएगा। मैक्स एफपीएस भाई, इतने एफपीएस नहीं जाते। ओ शुरू, आजा माइनक्राफ्ट में आजा। आ रहा है तो थोड़ी देर में जा रहा हूँ मैं। नो माइनक्राफ्ट ओनली वेलो खोलू। तू बोल रहा है तो वेलो खेलूंगा, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं मुझे। शेड्यूल किया है मैंने, वो शेड्यूल हटाना पड़ेगा, कर लूंगा वेलो। फैजल भाई कौन से डिस्कॉर्ड पे हो? बोलो बोलो जल्दी, कौन से डिस्कॉर्ड पे ज्वाइन हो वो बोलो जल्दी, उधर भेज देता हूँ मैं लिंक। और शुरू बोल क्या कर रहा है, वेलो जाओ या माइनक्राफ्ट आओ, वो बोल। चिंट पक्का डम डम। मुझे भी खेलना है। क्या खेलना है आपको फैजल भाई, बोलो। चैट मिस, मुझे भी खेलना है। हाँ मैंने पढ़ा। किस, क्या खेलना है वही तो पूछा मैंने आपको। फैजल भाई क्या बोल रहे हो? ओ भाई, बट मेरा फोन में माइनक्राफ्ट पेड नहीं है। तो प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, क्योंकि ये जो सर्वर जो है ये सिर्फ पीसी वालों के लिए है, मतलब पीसी वर्जन्स वालों के लिए है, तो मोबाइल वर्जन नहीं आ पा रहे, ऐसा प्रॉब्लम है। और ये मैंने नहीं मेरा सर्वर नहीं है, मतलब ये है अपना एक दोस्त है उसका सर्वर, तो उधर उधर पे पीसी ओनली वाले हैं लोग। क्या कर सकता हूँ मैं भी अभी। फैजल भाई हाई डाल दो जरा डिस्कॉर्ड पे, आपको प्लेलिस्ट भेज देता हूँ। हाई डाल दो जल्दी। कटक 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 ठन टन टन। कोई हमारे लिए जुगाड़ लगाओ ना। जुगाड़ जुगाड़ आने के लिए थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, क्योंकि मेरा भी ये भी कैसा जॉब चालू है, टाइम नहीं मिल रहा मुझे भी थोड़ा इसको बनाने में, क्योंकि टाइम लगता है वैसे जुगाड़। देखता हो तो भी के लिए कुछ ना कुछ करेंगे हम, चिंता मत करिए। पर आप स्ट्रीम पे ही नहीं आ रहे हो, आज आए हो कल नहीं आए थे, ऐसा नहीं, डेली आना चाहिए। डेली आके एक लाइक करके जाओ, थोड़ा अच्छा लगेगा हमें भी। फैजल भाई, एक लाइक की कीमत तुम क्या जाना फैजल भाई, डेली आके जाओ, जरा लाइक करके जाओ, हमसे बातें करो थोड़ी बैठ के, हमें भी अच्छा लगेगा। कोई देख रहा है भाई हमारी स्ट्रीम ऐसा करके। चलो चलते हैं, मैंने डिस्कॉर्ड पे डाल दिया लिंक, देख लीजिए जाके। चलिए बाय बाय।